just kidding. How you guys doing? This is Alex and Joe coming to you from the VMP Ranch, the weekly show. Do we have, what's the name of the show? Do we have
Tuning Tuesdays.
Tuning Tuesdays.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I just getting back from vacation, so kind of getting,
back into the groove.
Reorientated, like we like to say. So basically, a lot of things have happened in the last couple of weeks. Tuning world, news about the upcoming GT500. All the stuff has happened, but we're going to get to it. But as always, guys, if you like the show, make sure to share it. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Just make sure you give that like, give a share. If you want this to be like a weekly thing, your support will just make it grow. So, Joe, I was out last week. Has anything happened different in the last week that I've been gone, freezing my butt up in the north?
I had same old.
Tune. I saw Cobra on the dyno that we've been working on.
Did I do Luter's car while you were gone?
Yeah, Jeremy Luter's car, which is a
11
to 14 green car that we put a 15 engine in.
Yeah,
made 700 wheel. Is that?
Yep, 700 wheel on E85 with a 79 millimeter pulley.
Yeah, and all he did was bring his car to us. It was a 14, gotta have a green Mustang with a stock engine. He brought it here. We put a 15 motor in it. Fuel system.
Yep, four return fuel system.
For Innovations fuel system, dual hat or triple?
Dual hat.
Dual hat. Okay, and then we tuned it with a 79 millimeter pulley. Made 700 wheel. Sent him on his way. We know those motors can take plenty of power, so we're not really stressing that power number at all. It's actually he's gonna have a fun car. Did he pick it up or is it still here?
I don't know. I think he was talking about picking it up while it was gone, but I haven't gone out into the shop to see if it's gone yet.
Yeah, the shop's pretty.
We also did that Roush car.
Did a Roush car?
Yeah, 17.
Like an
RS3? The guy's name. Yeah, it's kind of like an RS3, except it was I say Roush car, but I mean
Roush
GT
blower.
with a Roush blower.
Right.
That one was 650 something wheel, 93 octane and a twin 60.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's badass.
And stock Roush cold air and stuff.
Oh, I mean, those
we have videos coming out for both those cars though, so if anyone wants any more details.
I take it was a decent looking
Yeah,
car.
it was lightning blue.
That's a nice color. So it's a 17.
Yep.
Excellent. So yeah, I mean, basically the only thing that's changed in the last couple of weeks or that I've heard of, obviously the 2018 Mustang has pretty much cemented itself as a legitimate 11-second stock car. Our car went 1180.
11895.
And Evan Smith was at the track same day. He had a premium version of the Mustang, the 2018 Mustang, and went 11.8 also. And then the red manual from American Muscle came down. It ran good numbers, but we also saw the video where it made 469 rear wheel horsepower on E85 PMOS cold air. So basically, it cemented itself as a legitimate car. I drove Steve Gell's 2018 and huge improvements. Shifter, steering, power delivery, unreal. Also rumors about the Predator engine that's coming out in the 2019 GT500 with a 2.6 TVS. I'm not sure if it's going to be auto or manual only. It's still rumors. People are saying it's going to have a 7-speed like the C7 Z06, like a TR6070. But that's basically what's changed in the industry. There are rumors. We won't really know till I think the Detroit Auto Show. Yeah. And that's when we'll see what's what, and then we can speculate and get some actual numbers and specs out there. But as of now, that's what's happened in the last couple of weeks.
Did you see the rumors about the possible Bullet?
I saw a picture of a green Bullet. It looked really good.
And it had like the painted manufacturer plate too.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
That dark green color is really nice. The black faux gas cap, I think, and the black wheels.
Yeah.
But power, are we still looking?
It's probably
going to
be like the other Bullets, where it's like a cold air throttle body difference.
Okay.
And
like something Ford might offer as a performance package in the future.
Yeah, that or kind of like the Mach 1s, where it's a slightly upgraded engine or cold air tune package, and then probably brakes, sway bars.
Okay.
Kind of like probably be like a performance pack.
That'd be cool if they could offer a Bullet like upgrade package for performance, like where they
like the FP3 package or something like that.
Exactly, where you can just buy cold air, buy this and this and that, and it'll be basically a warranted.
Exactly.
That's what people seem to be stuck on warranty, so we understand. So a lot of people just want to stick with Ford stuff. We totally get it. So as always, we have Carrie fielding your questions and monitoring everything out there. So Carrie, anything coming through?
We do, actually. So I have a couple questions on YouTube that we'll hit first, and then we'll go over to Facebook.
Very good.
Okay.
So William wants to know, will the N2MB watt box interfere with the nitrous wide open throttle?
Depends on how you have it wired in. I wouldn't imagine that it would, but I'd consult your whoever. Did he say whose nitrous controller?
No, he just said a nitrous controller. So if you have like the nitrous controller turning off before the N2MB, then it all depends on how you have everything set up. So let's say if you have a window switch and you turn off the nitrous at 6800, well, you should turn off the N2MB right around that time also. Make sure everything is,
Make sure all your limiters and your entry points are staggered so that you don't enter both at the same time or one and then the other.
Because the last thing you need is the watt box shutting off, but the nitrous still kicking in, and
you'll have a bad time.
You can have a bad time. You'll be buying curtains for the new windows on your block. So yeah, just make sure that everything is, like he said, the entry points and everything are similar, or the nitrous shuts off before the N2MB does any kind of throttle cut, and you should be okay. I can't imagine you having any issues.
Okay, also from YouTube, BTOW wants to know, is there a proper two-step solution for the 16 Plus Coyote? MSD doesn't work since Ford changed the plug style or something.
Yeah, they changed the connector style for the 15 coil packs. I mean, why do you want a two-step? Do you want it for consistent launching? Because that's all in the factory ECU.
And the
or
other
do you want two-step for the sound?
I think the only reason I would see people wanting to use a two-step is like high-end racers with a bump box and a turbo car. It's the only reason. I understand if you want to, just smash it to the wood and just kind of let it be at a certain spot. I mean, if you want to bust up oil pump gears, that's how you do it. If you want to break stuff, that's how you do it. But like Joe alluded to, the factory tune has like a soft limiter. And if you know Panda, Paul Ferdinando's car, when it was a manual car, he lived off of that limiter. Basically, you can hear him go, bum, 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 and it would just kind of hold itself there.
He said it's a TT car.
Oh, it's a twin turbo car. Okay, so I know that I recently did a Hellion twin turbo car, and it had an MSD two-step in it, and it worked. It literally worked. Now, he doesn't have a bump box, but he got on the limiter, and it was not a problem. He got on the chip on the MSD, and it wasn't an issue. You could test it out, and it was fine. Now, if you're using an 11 to 14 MSD deal, I'm sure the part number is different because the connector is different. So just make sure that MSD offers a 15 and up solution as opposed to reverting to the 11 to 14 stuff.
Or you could just use the 11 to 14 coils.
You know what? Actually,
although no, because it has to plug in series.
Right, the top part is different. So yeah, you won't be able to do that, and you're not. I don't want you to rewire stuff. Look, I'm sure a manufacturer out there or MSD themselves offer that as a 15 and up version. Also, I can't imagine they would. That'd be crazy if they didn't.
Yeah, it's just a connector difference, so it shouldn't be anything too crazy.
That's pretty much it. And I get it. You got to spool up. Make sure everything's happy, and you're at boost when you get out of the hole. So I get that. But if you're a manual car guy, or
naturally aspirated,
you don't. In my opinion, unless you're racing like in a
bracket
or a class,
yep,
a two-step isn't something I would end up going with.
Or the factory launch control. Just use that.
Yeah, just use that. I mean, most of the guys are out there weekend warriors anyway, so it's not necessarily something you need. It's cool if you want to shoot flames. I'm not going to recommend anything that shoots flames and breaks stuff. I'd rather you just learn to drive the car and not rely on many driver aids. Brian, you can make noise, Brian. We got one of our guys here, Brian. He's trying to slowly come in and not make any noise, but
it's all good.
He's good.
Going over to Facebook, we have several Facebook questions at this point. Roger and Clark wants to know, I saw the video of the do's and don'ts of supercharging, which we had posted yesterday.
Which is great. Yeah, I loved it. It was very nice.
And I'm wondering how often you should check your spark plug gap and how often you should change your spark plugs.
I'd say 10K. Check it at 5, change them at 10.
Pretty much. And if you have like a very high horsepower vehicle, I check them more often, obviously. If you have something that's supercharged, making a ton of boost, whether it be GT500, Coyote, 2-valve, 3-valve, Cobra, it's regular maintenance. It's one of those things where you're just gonna have to get in there and check stuff. You can't just go, well, it's been 3,000 miles, it's all good. No, when you start investing $20,000, $30,000 into a vehicle, you have to change the oil probably at higher intervals because it gets hotter and colder faster, or it gets hotter faster and it doesn't last as long. I would never think of having my oil at 5,000, 6,000 miles on a car that makes 800 wheel horsepower. That's just not happening. Same thing with the plugs. I'm going to make sure I check them often. Some people check them after every run, after every pull, depending on their horsepower level. But Joe's advice is, right, check them at 5, change them at 10. It's pretty good practice.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan says, debate some friends and I have had recently. Are long tubes worth it on the new 5.0, even with a blower, assuming one wants reasonable power for the street?
Depends on what your dollar per horsepower is, what you can justify. If you can justify $1,000 for 10 horsepower, then it's worth it. If you can't justify anything less than 30 horsepower for $1,000, then it's definitely not worth it.
The only time I think it's worth it on the newer modular application is F-150, 11 to 14.
Yeah.
11 to 14 F-150 literally have cast manifolds that are so tight that there is no airflow happening there. And GT500. But Coyote, look man, the Coyote stuff is pretty stout. They come with like a tubular manifold that flows real good, and the gains are so minimal when it comes to long tubes that you're like, oh, I put a set of $1,400 long tubes in it and I got 10 horse. But maybe my tuner didn't tune for them. You hear that all the time.
Exactly.
But no, it's just efficient from the factory, and it's hard to make an already efficient engine that much more efficient. It's more of a sound,
Yeah.
and it's more of a setting you up for the future, maybe boost or something like that. But dollar for dollar, long tubes, I wouldn't really say it's a good beneficial modification to make.
Yeah, and like on that Roush car that we did last week, it was a completely stock from the manifolds all the way back to like where the suitcase would be, except he had swapped that out for a MagnaFlow dual in, dual out muffler.
Oh, okay.
But that car picked up 20 horsepower. It was at 630 wheel before, 650 wheel after. Same timing, same IAT, same RPM, all that stuff.
Wow. Just with deleting the suitcase?
No, with the long tube headers. We put
Oh.
a set of Cook's long tubes on there, and it picked up 20 horsepower. So, I mean, if you can justify 20 horsepower for probably what was $1,600 for headers and mid-pipe, and then another, I don't know how much we charged for labor on it, but I think it ended up being close to $2,000 for the whole setup. If you can justify $2,000 for 20 horsepower, by all means do it if you've got a blower, but when you're naturally aspirated, your gains are going to be significantly smaller. I mean, you're talking 10, 15 horsepower tops from long tubes.
Right, they're efficient already, so they're not necessary, but like you said, justifying the cost for horsepower, that's kind of like a judgment call. But if you're debating your friends and you told them that it is worth it, you lose.
That and worth is different to everyone. That's why I always circle back to dollar per horsepower, because that's the only way you can really quantify worth with what we're doing is dollar per horsepower.
It's a good practice not to debate something you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So don't debate it if you don't know enough about the subject.
Doug kind of said, area under the curve for long tubes, show the graph before and after.
I can't do that right now, but if you want to see that, I can
Looks
send you
like this, and the other one looks like this.
Yeah, I can send you an email. Just shoot me an email. I can send you the graphs.
Tim says all the gas stations around him ran out of premium fuel for the last 4 days. What do you guys recommend in this type of situation?
Just put whatever fuel you want in it that's a gasoline-based fuel or whatever you're tuned for, and then drive it like a sane person, and you won't have issues.
But Joe,
I have a 93 tune.
I want to drag people. I want to go racing, but we ran out of 93. Well, we only have a 91. What should I do?
Put 91 in it.
But what if my knock sensors go off like 1 degree?
Or what if your tuner has your knock sensor shut off because he thinks that's the only way to make power? You'll have a bad time if your tuner does that.
Exactly. So look, if you're out of premium and you're tuned for premium, now I'm not saying some people tune at the ragged edge of the octane that you have. We don't do that. We leave room for error. So just put 91 in it and drive it not like an idiot, and you should be okay. As long as you're not, I'm gonna go racing tonight with the boys at Wolfie's, and no, just relax, hang out, wait till the premium comes back, go from there.
Exactly.
I'm going to head over to YouTube. We have one more question on YouTube right now, and then we're going to go back over to Facebook because we have a whole slew of questions on Facebook.
Oh, man.
Slew.
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
so Jason says, how is the reliability of the Camden Coyote motors compared to the blown motors?
Camden?
Camden?
Cammed? Did he mean cammed?
Probably.
C-A-M-M-E-D.
I mean, the reliability would be similar.
Yeah.
You have less moving parts when you're naturally aspirated, but I've never seen a cammed Coyote blow up or live a lesser life than anything that had stock cams.
Not Camden, but a Camden one, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like no life. It just dies.
Just sucked right out of it.
A cammed car, you're not going to suffer drivability issues. Now, if you're one of these guys that believes everything that's on the internet, you're going to want to lock the cams for chop. You're going to want, look, comp cams like stage 1, 2, 3s, as long as whether you use the limiters or not, whatever, I've never seen an issue with durability or drivability with a cammed car than a car with stock cams. It's just not a factor. Next question.
And Dan?
So actually, I just got another question on YouTube. It says, from Tony, are the Pro Charger cars a lot more tricky to tune, being that the MAF sensor is in the intercooler?
Initially it was.
Well,
Just to get the map curve right.
it's just a terrible location for a MAF sensor. Like, it works, and it works fine, but your MAF resolution is like, if you look at the graph of MAF frequency during a watt poll, it looks like an Etch-a-Sketch written by a 2-year-old looking at MAF frequency on it,
Right.
whereas like on a stockholder intake or anything like that, it's
Smooth.
a little bit of zigzagginess, but
Nothing
nothing crazy. And I mean, the only tricky part was getting it to where you had a good weighted average of what the MAF transfer functions end up being, because you have one car that's 5-10% this way, one car that's 5-10% that way with the same injectors and the same blower kit, and it's like, all right, well, we'll just put it right here in the middle and see where it goes.
Right. If you look at the intercooler location and the MAF, it's somewhat at the top, and the theory is when the air comes in, it sort of triangulates to the exit, basically, to where it actually goes to the charge pipe. Now, the problem with that is, if you understand how air moves around things, around tubes, okay, the MAF should be somewhere pretty centrally located where there's a good straight run before it and after it, so that the air passes. Let's say this is the MAF sensor. The air has to pass through it smoothly. If you have a bend, okay, right before the MAF sensor, so what you're getting is, let's say the MAF sensor is at the bottom of the pipe and this is the top of the pipe. So now the faster air is moving above it and the slower air is moving down here. So you're going to have inaccurate data, in my opinion, because your piping is no good. No different than, I come from a pump background, and a lot of the times people tend to be silly with their pump configurations, and the pumps need to have a certain amount of straight run so they don't cavitate. Well, think of air and turbulence, same as cavitation. Okay, if you have a bunch of bends before it and after, you'll have a bunch of swirling. You want straight, nice, smooth air. And the Pro Charger isn't the best. It isn't the worst, but it isn't the best setup, in my opinion. But we can tune it. It's not a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, in a perfect world, the MAF housing would be different, but the setup that's on it works, and we can tune for it. But just be aware that there's some variability to it, just because of the way that it's positioned.
Not my favorite.
Yeah, but it works.
It works. Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
1,
2.
Smart asses.
3.
All right, move on. So Rick says, hey guys, contacted you on returning the 14 GT Justin did an E85 last month. Made the 680 through the stock manifolds, stock engine. Question is, should I put the 72 pulley when I put the long tubes and offload H-pipe, or just put them on and leave the 75 that it was tuned on? I'll send in for the retune as soon as possible. Thanks.
It is entirely up to you, Rick. I think I had responded to your email or told Travis what to say in the response email to that, but some background. Rick's a 11 to 14 car, stock engine on a 75 millimeter pulley on E85.
Ooh-wee.
And it's a lot of boost going to a 72. There's guys that the engines live long lives at that level, and then there's guys that the rod decides to frag at what should be a very safe timing level on E85.
Right.
So it really depends on how hard you're wanting to push it. Just keep in mind you're on a stock engine. If you really want to party, throw the 72 on there. We have enough room in your tune to supply fuel and everything for the 72.
Right.
Just keep in mind it's aggressive.
We don't recommend it, but it's your car.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, from a tuning standpoint, everything's been done in your tune to make sure that's safe, but at what you're doing, safe is relative, so just keep that in mind.
yes.
Daniel says, cost per horsepower, would there be much gain switching to the big Whipple throttle body over my VMP Twin 67. Currently at 730 horsepower, upgrading motor, and looking to make 900 to 1,000.
If you're looking to make 900 to 1,000, put the bigger throttle body on.
And the bigger cold air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't just throw a bigger throttle body and leave the 120 millimeter cold air in there.
Yeah.
Find something in the 140 range. PMOS and JLT both have similar products that will get the job done, get air in there. So bigger throttle body, bigger cold air. You want to make 900 wheel, gotta upgrade.
Yeah.
Grant wants to know, Joe, why is your Cobra so slow for a VMP car?
What Cobra?
What Cobra? What Cobra? What
I sold my Cobra.
That thing's gone. That
You
was
can call,
last
not
year's.
call, but you can message Casey Harrington on Facebook. It makes 700 wheel now on E85.
Slow.
Yeah.
What's he make? What's his name? Let's look him up.
Is it Twilly?
Grant Twilly? Your boy?
No, it's not Grant.
Oh.
Oh.
Grant White?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, it don't matter. It's
It's
gone.
gone. He's
Yeah.
gone.
It's all good.
Actually, Justin says, shout out to Joe, the Cobra is driving better now.
Sweet. Renierson, I think it is.
Yeah, Renierson, yes. Over to YouTube for a minute. Nickel Banshee wants to know, do I need to change my oil pump gears on my S550 NA car? I do high rev it to 7,700.
Yeah,
It'd be a good idea.
that's my guy, tune him. Yeah. He's one of these
You
guys.
see those logs?
He's one of these guys that can absolutely drive, can absolutely shift, and he's gonna live in the high RPMs a lot because that car is like a wicked naturally aspirated car. Stuff just works. I wish there was some magic sauce, but it just whatever's combination he put together just works. It's a good idea just to do that in the crank sprocket, and then know that that's not an issue, and you'll be okay because he's a racer. If it was just some dude, no big deal. But Nickel is he's racing that car if the track's open, he's racing it. So I suggest he upgrades just to make sure the car's good, and that's one less thing you got to worry about.
Exactly.
Brian says the Gen 2 is still a best bet for the 0304 Cobra, right, VMP?
It depends on what he's referring to or comparing it to, but it's still a great blower. There's nothing wrong with it. It does the same thing it's always done. I mean, you're looking on 93, like 600 to 670 wheel, depending on your supporting mods and how good the fuel is. On E85, the same 670 all the way up to around 800 wheel on a stock long block.
The guys have gone 8s with a Pavia, Jonathan Pavia, with a built motor.
Yep.
He's done it on a 2.3. Rick Cackness is a bottom 9-second car, stick shift.
Jeff is a 9-second car.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to stuff a 4-liter or something in there, by all means. But
Have fun breaking the crank.
exactly. it's not something we recommend. The 2.3 is a pretty proven little unit, and it does real well. And if you want to go faster than 8s and 9s, turbo. Turbo the car, But we like it very much. And the proof is out there. Just do some research on it. Guys are running good numbers on those Cobras. Those Cobras are still out there dragging people's asses and doing real well. So the 2.3 is a proven little blower that we love.
Yeah.
Andrew says, what do you recommend for camshafts on a TVS car and advantage of keeping or locking out the VCT?
Keep the VCT if possible, and camshafts really depends on what you want to do with it. If you track car, stage 3 comp, or hit up L&M for custom grind.
Exactly. If you want to really maximize everything that's going on with your car, I would suggest valve springs, L&M custom grind stuff based on your combination. Or if you just want to go with something with no springs required, L&M I'm sure has
an NSR option.
NSR option. NSR is no springs required. Comp cams, my guy Donnie has comp cam stage 3 NAs. Car makes 830 wheel. Blower cams, I'm sure make similar. But retaining, now, why would you want to retain VCT? Like, why on earth, if you can manipulate everything in the tune, why on earth, besides chop, would you want to get rid of variable cam timing, VCT?
Just consistency is the only thing that you can really
Right.
say as a merit to eliminating the VCT.
And
is that at that point it's a
GT500,
mod motor.
it's a little GT500 basically, or Cobra.
Yeah.
We like VCT. We like VCT very much. Now, if you have a big boy, I'm saying big boy horsepower build, you might want to consider that. But I've even heard I'll give a shout out to Dustin Gregory from CPR. He has done all the testing on the planet, and he likes retaining VCT. Now, if a guy that lives in the 12 to 1300 horsepower world likes keeping VCT, that's enough for a 700-800 horsepower dumbass like me.
And I mean, it's just silly to leave low-end power on the table because you're solely looking for consistency. Because even with VCT, it's still very consistent on 1,000 horsepower cars. But when you're setting up the cams, you don't set them up to make power at 2,000 RPM if it's a race car.
Right.
You're going to set them up to make 7,000. And what you can do with the VCT is actuate the cams so that it makes all the power it can at 1,500,
down low,
all the power it can at $5,000, and all the
Right.
power it can at $7,000. And that's something that you can't do when you remove the VCT.
it's either going to be super lazy down low or badass down low and nothing up top.
Yeah.
There is no in between when you lock them. So we like keeping VCT.
Jeremy says, better setup for my VMP 0304 with 10.5 to 1 E85 build stock lower and 2.6 upper, or 4-pound lower, 2.8 upper.
If you really want to get silly, 4-pound 2.8. I don't like going super small on the upper because you run into more issues with belt slip than you do with a large lower and a reasonable size upper. Just keep in mind some of our fastest Cobras are 4-pound 3.0. If you want to go 4-pound 2.8, it's a lot of boost. You can do it, but I'd start with a 4-pound 3.0, and then if you feel foggy, go 4-pound 2.8.
I saw Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights yesterday, and he's like, why do you want to listen to the stereo and the TV at the same time? Because I like to party.
Yep.
I never knew the line before that, so I only knew the line after. But yeah, like he was saying, the pulley combination that's proven is the one he just mentioned, so there's no need for that. But like he said, if you want to party,
Yeah.
it's because he had two different remotes. So he would call them and said, hey, you know, this remote shuts off and turns on the stereo, but this one, how do I lower the stereo volume with one remote? I just thought it was funny.
It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it before,
I
give it a watch. You just can't be in a serious mood when you're watching it.
No, exactly.
You got to take things very lightly.
Exactly.
Someone is asking over on YouTube, any future tuning for California?
Not at this time.
Talk to your congressman.
Yeah.
Vote Republican. Vote Republican. Look,
Send in all the letters you can.
I'm telling you guys, I love California. It is the birthplace of hot rod. I mean, all the blower manufacturers are there. Some of the sickest rides are there, and you guys have the silliest laws on the planet.
Fascists.
and then you complain that, well, how come we don't tune here? And then you vote for who you vote for. It's not that hard. There's a reason I moved down here from Massachusetts, a similar state. So I got out of there. I was like, I'm done. As far as we know, there's no tuning. We're not going to be tuning California.
No,
or sending parts or nothing.
Get with your congressman or whoever you got to talk to about that.
Yeah, man.
Get them to yank some of those restrictions and stuff back, and we'll see about it. But
Or
as
buy
it stands right now, no.
Or buy a Tesla, bro. They're quick.
Yeah.
$300,000 later.
Get your electric motor tuned.
Yeah, I love you guys. I have a huge following in California. Tons of TVS cars, Sean at AEDs in California. A bunch of great people down there. We're not tuning there. And it's not because of us. It's because of the state and their laws.
Denzel wants to know if I run my PMAS tune required cold air on my 2012 with the stock MAF, how bad will the car run? Or if I get the no tune required, what kind of horsepower gains do I get?
Same horsepower gains, whether it's no tune required or tune required, as long as when you are running the tune required, you have a tune on the car.
Exactly. You got it. If you have a tune required PMOS and you do not have a tune in it, do not run that car.
Yeah. But if you, I mean, the airflow is the same whether it's the tune required or not tune required with PMOS, because they provide a different mass airflow sensor so that it flows, its flow versus output voltage is the same. But there's, I don't know, I mean, some of the like tune required versus not tune required other cold air intakes on the market have a restrictor to accomplish that same
Like
thing.
Air Raid used to have a little insert,
Exactly.
CNL.
CNL.
Not Steeda. Steeda didn't have anything like that.
Not that I'm familiar with. Most of their like ProFlow stuff, the 101 or 110 millimeters, all no insert.
Right.
But those ones, you could perceive that you would have a restriction because the inlet diameter around the MAF is smaller, but the PMOS, tune required and no tune required will flow the same.
Basically, they tune it for you with their sensor, with
Yeah.
the no tune required version. They say, here's a sensor, plug it in, send it.
Yeah.
When the tune required version, which is probably a little cheaper because it doesn't come with a sensor, we do that for you.
Yeah, and that's to say that both cars have the same tune in them,
Right.
with the only difference being the mass air transfer function.
Correct.
Because the tune required one, not only are we changing the mass air transfer function, but we're changing everything else
The
we do
whole
to
tune.
get power.
Right.
Whereas if someone was to run a no tune required and literally not put a tune on the car,
Right.
then the tune required one would make more power, but not just because the PMOS is the PMOS with the tune
It's
required.
because of stuff we do in the background
Exactly.
to complement our
Exactly.
base file. Basically, we put a base in it. It has a tune for performance. We move around a bunch of parameters. That one's going to make more power than a stock car with a
No
no
tune.
tune required PMOS.
Yeah.
Grant wants to know why there's not a VMP direct bolt-on blower for the 99 to 04 SVT Lightnings.
Because it's irrelevant. They're,
Unfortunately.
they're great trucks, but for us, it's not worth our time and investment cost to build a blower specifically for that platform. There's already a lot of good options for that platform, and I mean, we support that platform with tuning right now, but there's no need for us to go out there and build a different blower for it.
Exactly.
There's adapter kits to put all of our blowers on it, so
You got to understand, we let's say if we said tomorrow, we support Lightning. We're not going to stock 5 blowers. We're going to stock 200 or 100.
yeah.
And good luck getting rid of 100 or 200 Lightning superchargers.
Yeah, the market's already so saturated with that stuff. Most of the guys that want bigger blowers already have them. So it's not like a market that doesn't have any aftermarket support yet. All the guys want a bigger blower, but they have no option.
Right.
It's one of those things where the market's already saturated. I mean,
It's not.
you're
nobody's
competing
taking
with Hughes blowers, your own
Whipple.
Hughes blowers, Whipples,
Whipples.
Kenny Bells, and it's just something we're not interested in doing right now.
But 3.8 Thunderbird, got you covered.
No, we don't support that anymore. We don't support that anymore.
All right, guys, we have a whole lot of questions to go
Okay.
through, and we have about 25 minutes.
That's
Just an
okay.
FYI.
We're having fun.
I know you are. You always have fun. Rudy says, hey guys, would you guys recommend a Pro Charger on the 2017 GT350?
I wouldn't recommend any boost on a 2017 GT350, but if you have to have boost, feel free.
I've seen Pro Chargers at 5 to 7, very moderate boost levels make 500-600 rear wheel on a GT350. The reason we don't recommend it supercharging it, look, of course there's been some 350s out there that make 1,000, oh my God, look, it's making a ton of power. But the funny thing is when they blow up, you don't hear about them because it's embarrassing. So the perception is they're fine. If you're going to supercharge a GT350, then you either bought the GT350 for all the wrong reasons, or you just want more power. But you got to understand, with that much more power comes more responsibility.
Comes responsibility.
So I would keep boost tame if you're going to go ahead and do it. I wouldn't recommend any supercharger, but the Pro Charger mounts easy, tunes easy. Go party, but don't get mad when the crank splits or you have resonance. So it's not our deal. We don't even want to deal in that world. I get some of you do. We don't.
Yeah.
Roger says a 17 Mustang GT VMP Gen 2R 79 millimeter pulley. What should the plugs be gapped at?
30 to 32 should be fine on that setup.
30 to 32. If you go to our VMPPerformance.com webpage, there's a garage, VMP garage section.
Yep.
And then Spark Plugs 101's in there.
It is full of videos, tech articles, links. Half of the questions that you guys ask, they're there. And that's why we put them on there. Even our disclaimer as to why we don't shut off O2 sensors. It's all there. It's all there.
Doug says, I think we discussed that before, sorry.
There you go.
Out of there. Daniel says, how aggressive do you guys get on timing and fuel at the track when launching the car, quote, with the VMP 2.3 TVS?
Automatic or manual?
What year?
GT500? What
Yeah.
are we talking about? Now, on an automatic car, I don't know, I launch like a 17 degrees. If it's like a 79 millimeter pulley and pump gas. Actually, whatever the car tolerates, really. If the track has a bunch of bite and the car's hooking real well, typically you don't need to launch with a bunch with our blower. Our blower makes a ton of torque and it slingshots you off the line. We don't have a set number and a set fueling point.
Really depends on the specific combination and how aggressive the customer is wanting to get. Like we can always get, as long as the octane's there, we can always get more aggressive, but we don't send out stuff super aggressive on the base file.
Never. If anything, we're on the conservative side until we creep up on it. I sent the file to a gentleman who had a convertible supercharged car that was ported and everything, and I sent him a tune because he goes, yeah, I want to send it. Oh, okay. So I sent him a tune that was aggressive, and it just spun every time at the track. So he's like, you got to dial it back. I'm like, okay. So you don't want to send it. So dialed it back. He hooked, went 9s. He was a happy guy. But it all depends on varying conditions, year of the car, weight of the car, fuel, conditions, a bunch of things.
We have a whole bunch of questions, but Patricia Holbert wants to give a shout out to you, Joe. He says, hi, Joe.
Hi, Trisha.
Man, no one's saying hi to me today, man.
Old news, you went on vacation, you gone now.
You gone, bro.
Dakota says, what would you recommend swapping heads? Would you recommend swapping heads from a 15 GT to a 14 GT that is supercharged? What horsepower torque gains can be seen from swapping the heads?
To me, not enough justifying doing a head swap.
$1,000 heads and head swaps and labor. You probably see 20 horse.
Head studs, head bolts.
Yeah, it's now if you're gonna take a 15 head, port it, and put some valve springs in it, I get it. But if you're just gonna take a stock head and throw it on there, you're gonna make a little bit. But then it's the same argument as long tubes.
Yeah.
You know, you got to put them in and go, I only made 20 more horse. Same thing with heads. I only made 20 more horse. What the hell happened?
Yeah, I mean, the 15 to 17 blower cars aren't making astronomically higher numbers than the 11 to 14.
20 to 25 more tops at the same boost level, same spark, same air. Actually, the 15 is a little more spark tolerant, but like boost for boost, it's not that much different to warrant a head swap.
No, not to me at least. If you're splitting hairs and you're willing to just throw money at the car, feel free.
Alex has a shout out. Nickel Banshee on YouTube says, what's up, Alex / YOLO? See you at the events this year.
Cool,
it's like me, myself, and Irene. People talk to you and your alternate personality.
And you know, at least some people can differentiate.
Have you watched that movie yet?
No. Me, myself, and Irene?
Well, I showed you the preview to it. I told you to watch it because I feel like
it's what Jim people. Carrey.
Yeah.
Okay.
What people think of you and YOLO, like you change personalities.
Yeah.
It's like
YOLO doesn't work here.
You have multiple personality disorder, so they have to talk to each of your personalities.
I literally heard someone say, "Oh, YOLO said this about this." I'm like, "No, he didn't. I said that." and it's just like, oh my God, it's almost like
you created a monster.
I did, because what ends up happening is like, okay, I know I'm not Denzel Washington. I get it. But imagine Denzel Washington, walking down the street and they're like, yo, that guy from Training Day, yo, that guy's a punk. Like, no, he was acting as someone, but. Sometimes it's kind of hard to differentiate. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying YOLO doesn't work here. Alex does.
YOLO's not here right now.
Yeah, YOLO's not here right now.
It's checked out. On YouTube, Jason says, 2016 S550 tune with stock airbox, or is there gains to be had with tune and CAI?
There's gains with a cold air. We just circled back to the dollar per horsepower thing. And the other thing with cold airs is the stock airbox isn't the prettiest thing on the planet. It works great. It's really consistent. I mean, that's why Ford uses it. But if you
what do they know?
If you go to
$1 billion company,
exactly,
I have no idea.
If you're a car show guy and you like popping your hood at car shows and you want to do something either paint matched or something that looks more aggressive, then by all means do a cold air intake. But don't expect 50 horsepower on a naturally aspirated car from a cold air.
Really? Yeah, exactly.
If it is, it's probably not tuned, and the mass air transfer function is so screwed.
Lean or fat.
Super lean. It thinks load's really low. It tries to put a bunch of timing in it.
Right.
Yeah.
The Allspark.
We could get into this for hours.
Yeah, we nerd out in there forever, and this is how we talk all the time. Minus a couple expletives here and there, but we definitely talk like this all the time and that's why the show's easy. The show is, we just talk like we talk in there, except we just got to edit ourselves a little bit. But yeah, the stock airbox is fine for a stock car with a tune. Will you get some gains from the cold air? Yes. Is it worth the $300? That is up to you whether it's worth that or not.
Ryan says, do you think the GT350 intake manifold is going to work on the new 2018 5.0?
I almost think it has a version of it.
Yeah, it seems like every new model subsection, they take stuff from the performance side of the older section, like the older GTs got an upgraded intake manifold, and then I feel like that's kind of like the same carryover with 18.
Right.
And the 17 GT350 was like the pinnacle of naturally aspirated power.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that stuff merges over to the new model year.
Right. Trickle down economics.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Basically, Ford did a pretty damn good job with a naturally aspirated 5.2 that I'm sure that when people started taking that 350 intake and putting it on S550 Mustangs, 15 to 17, they said, man, this thing makes power. Mm-hmm. So it isn't we're not surprised that the 18 has a higher red line, mm-hmm. And probably has similar, airflow characteristics as a GT350 intake manifold. Mm-hmm. We just don't know that by putting one on, if it even fits, mm-hmm. that it will make any more power. And we're probably not going to try that. We're just going to go max out this combo, mm-hmm. and we're going to throw a blower on it, because that's what we do. We're a blower company.
Yeah.
SVT Junior says, what are some of the pros and cons of going with a VMP supercharger over a Whipple for my F-150?
I would say that there's not really any cons in either direction. They're both great blowers, and they'll both get you to a reasonable horsepower level in ET. TVS makes great torque down low, great power up top. The Whipple makes great torque and great power.
There isn't really any cons to either. It's all about probably supporting hardware, customer service.
And you're not going to get an aftermarket tune from Whipple.
Right.
That's one of the things that I would say is a pro from us. If you do something other than a completely stock truck with the Whipple, you have to go out and get an aftermarket tune. If you get our TVS, then you already have our tune. You just give us a call or shoot us an email. Tell us, hey, I did this to my car. Order a tune update, and then ta-da!
Yeah, because I was thinking about this not too long ago. How many other blower manufacturers can you call and say, I want a tune for different combinations? Mm-hmm. We tune Pro Chargers, we tune Nitros, we tune everything. And that's what I think the pro is with us. Mm-hmm. If you were ever to upgrade your supercharger, you will get that support with mm-hmm. us. So that's the pro. But I really, like he said, I don't think there's many cons to either.
Mm-hmm. Quick shout out on Grant Twilley says, Happy New Year's, guys.
Hola, Grant.
Grant, is that my future?
Your future rival.
Future
next week.
Rearview mirror.
Shots fired.
Mm-hmm. Next week it's going down.
Gonna get the sauce.
Gonna get the sauce. I hope.
Be careful, you might get gapped.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Good video.
Yeah.
Let's see here. SVT Junior, do you still get shit about that race against the 150 and the Viper?
No, not shit per se, but I definitely, people recognize the truck. Okay, understand this. You might already know this. I don't own VMP. Justin does. Justin owns VMP. That is Justin's truck. All I did was go to the event. One of our employees wasn't too confident about taking it down the quarter mile. So
Grant says you're going down, Alex.
yeah, I'm going down. We'll see. Remember, I don't have to shift. I just sit there and go. So anyway, the guy, I showed up, and the people from 1320 Video and Streetcar Takeover guys set it all up. They just put me on camera. I did my thing, and I knew I was going to get him out of the hole because it's a four-wheel drive. It's easy to drive. It's automatic, and he has a twin turbo Viper on pump gas. I'm like, this might be a close race, but no, it's the truck is recognized everywhere. Got a ton of views, millions of views on Facebook, and a ton on 1320 Videos YouTube page. So I did my job. I went up, promoted, beat a car, done.
Went home, handed Justin the keys. There's your truck.
Here's your truck. See you later. Yep. Good time.
All right. Trying to figure out which direction I want to go.
Either.
There's 77 Ford Bug says, located in Austin, Texas. What shop would you recommend for installing sleeves in an engine block?
Austin, Texas. Austin, in Texas? I don't know. I'm a NPR, L&M, and what's the other one? Liver noise. I mean, we there's known ones that we tend to kind of stick to, but I'm not saying there's not any good ones in Austin. I just don't know anything in the Houston area.
I mean, if anything, just contact our sales and support team, and we can let you know which of our dealers is geographically closest to you, And since we work with our dealers more than we work with just random odds and ends shops, those would be the ones that we're probably more likely to
Apparently,
recommend to you.
somebody on Facebook is saying Kinetic Motorsports.
Kinetic, I don't think actually sleeves them, but if they do, then they're a great company. They built some really fast GT500 mile cars. But if they've gotten into the machining end of things, you're in good hands. Those are great guys over there over in Humble. I think it's Humble. It's North Houston. I used to live there right off of 290 or something, or 291. I forget it, but it's yeah, they're good people. So they're GT500 specialists, and they do some Coyote stuff. And I believe they vendor Lund Racing tuning. So you're in good hands.
Hardcore Evolution says, are you guys able to tune a 2.9L Whipple supercharged 5.0 applications previously tuned by someone else?
Yeah, I mean, we can.
You can.
Just email us or something, and we can see about the specifics with your car, like making sure it doesn't have, as Paul would say, dentist drilled injectors and stuff like that.
Right. Right. It all depends on the combo, but we've tuned them before and with good success. So email us. What is it? Support at VMPtuning.com, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Support at VMPtuning.com. It'll populate a ticket. You'll be able to talk back and forth with our sales reps, and they can lead you in the right direction depending on your combination. So give us an email, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Justin says, I have a 2017 5.0 F-150 cold exhaust and a VMP tune on the way since it's speed density. Will I need a tune update for headers and high flow cats?
Do we have a value file for cold exhaust?
I don't know. To your question about long tubes and needing a tune
Hot
update.
exhaust. I thought I have the hot exhaust value file. Go ahead. Sorry. Get on a tangent. I lost your train of thought.
In order to run and drive the car, you won't need a tune update. The car won't run lean or anything silly like that. I've talked about this a couple times in previous videos. But there are things that we need to change in the tune to make sure that the car is accounting for the header properly. But don't be scared to drive the car without a tune update for headers, because as long as you didn't screw up the install in some way, you're not going to hurt the car.
Quick shout out, John Watson said, shout out to Joe for excellent customer service, VMP for the win.
My man.
No problem, John.
And then going back over to Facebook, to YouTube, we're gonna take one more question there, and then we're going back to Facebook because we have a whole bunch of questions there. So Bubba Blue says, as far as supercharging an 11 to 14 GT, what would be the best way to start? I see your 2011 with a ton of horsepower still kicking, and wants to know if we have any dealers in the Houston area.
Is
Bomberas and Katie is a dealer. I think that's the only dealer that I know.
I think there's Lethal Performance. I don't know where they're out of.
Yeah, I don't think they're that, because Houston's massive, so they're probably on the other edge, because we protect our dealers. We want to make sure there's not some guy in his basement selling parts next to like Bomberas or something like that, because there's no basements in Houston. But anyway, just attic.
ATF below sea level. Inside joke.
So what's the best way about going supercharging an 11 to 14 Mustang? I mean, look, our stage kits
buying a blower kit.
Our stage kits are proven. Stage 2, 56s, twin 67, good heat exchanger and a booster. It's a legit 620, 630 horsepower car all day. If you can drive worth a damn, you get 10-second car stick, 10-second car auto.
Yeah, I'd say that's the fastest path to power and the easiest path to supercharge, because a lot of guys will go through the full NA path and then sell everything that they did for NA for a third of what they paid for it. And it's like, you just wasted like $2-3 grand going through an NA setup that you could have just put towards a blower setup and then 6 steps forward.
Because what's a Cobra Jet, a twin 67, injectors? I mean, you're 1,500 in.
Yeah.
Just save for a little while. You don't have to be keeping up with the Joneses. Save for a little while, just save for boost, and you should be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Stage two seems to be the best bang for the buck. And that's
that or do suspension first. Yeah. Because suspension always works no matter what the setup.
Yeah.
Invest in a driver mod.
I know someone that sells one. Just saying.
Mike says, why not 2-valve Mustang 99 to 04 blower kits? We need it.
We already have a kit set up for those. And by set up for those, I mean we have a kit for 0304 Cobra. If you use the Torque Tech adapter plates, it bolts right on. So just get in contact with Torque Tech, tell them you want to go with the VMP blower, they'll get you set up with all the stuff you need or tell you what to buy to get the blower on the car.
So we don't specifically offer a kit, but there are kits out there.
Yeah, through a means, we have a kit for 2 valves.
Right.
William says, what all is involved in using a 15 plus short block in a 14 Mustang GT? Is it a straight swap if you use the 14 heads intake tune?
Yes.
Yeah, use the 14 heads, cams, phasers, timing set. It's a straight swap.
If a short block means just the bottom end, swap it in, party, done.
Yeah. Although,
I don't see why you would do that.
Just put rods and pistons in it.
I don't see why you would do that. I don't see the benefit of you putting a 15 and up short block.
You're in it the same labor.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. It doesn't
Take
compute.
your existing block, take it off, rods and pistons in it, balance it, do some honing. Now you have an illuminator.
Or buy 11 to 14 core, whether it be F-150 or Mustang.
Sell yours.
Yep, put rods and pistons in it. Swap all the stuff that you need to over, then sell it for what you're in it for the core, we'll call it. And then you're out $0, you're down 0 time other than the time to swap the engines and you're back on the road.
I think people think the 15 and up engines are some kind of bulletproof thing. Look,
They're God.
They're God. Exactly.
Jesus walking the earth.
Here's your 15 Coyote. No, you gotta understand it. It still has limitations. It's not forged. It's powdered forged. It's better than 11 or 14, but not that much better to warrant tearing it down and putting
I'd say
it
it's like the in-between of 11 to 14 GT and Bosch.
Schmedium.
Yeah, it's the Schmedium. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to go from small to Schmedium, go for a 15 short block.
Exactly. If you want to, let them hang, rods
If
and
you really
pistons.
want to party, rods and pistons.
Carrie's just laughing at us.
Colin says, super nerdy question. You know the intake exhaust port length on a Coyote head for CFM math stuff? Question mark. Thanks. Google is failing me.
Google's going to continue to fail you. There's not really a good way to measure the length of the runners in a stock intake because it does one of these. So if you had like a CAD drawing of it, you might be able to do it via just like spatial calculations and running the radius
Don't
of the
look at me.
bends and
I don't know
everything.
what the hell you're talking about.
Well, I just wanted to see what your face looked like as I said that. To answer your question shortly, no.
Joe says, how much do you allow NOx sensors to add or remove?
Depends on the combination and how. If a customer has a problem with false knock and they don't want to address the issue of the false knock, I'll do different things.
I'd rather the NOx sensors do minimal work adding, and we let them pull as much as they can because we want to make sure everything's protected. If there's a detonation event, any kind of resonance or harmonics that shouldn't be there, I want it to pull.
Or if their intercooler pump loses prime,
Yes.
you
We
want it to be able to pull timing.
I had a guy that's like, man, my car feels like junk. And all of a sudden, we're like, you're seeing 6 degrees of timing and your downstreams are 180. Thank God. Because if not, you would have melted the car. So
that and it's not like we use the NOx sensor for everything. We still have the ACT retard function doing its job. But at the same time, air charge temperature, so the temperature of the air going into the cylinder. But at the same time, we don't want to set that up to be so obscenely aggressive that the NOx sensors are adding when it's pulling.
Exactly.
Try to keep a balance between the two.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
Next question.
Quick shout out. Jay Hennessy says, Joe, thank you for getting my 100 octane tune lined out, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
No problem, Jay.
Brad wants to know thoughts on Sean Hyland as a mod engine builder. Apparently he's having some issues.
Murky water you are stepping into. Sean, I think 90s mod motor stuff.
SHM?
Yeah, SHM.
In the mod motor world, no offense to anyone in there, I don't hear that name really in the Coyote.
Yeah, I think he's coming back up. From everything I heard through different circles, he was kind of in a rough spot like 5-10 years ago.
Okay.
I hear he's opened up the shop again. He's taking in work and stuff, but murky water. Just hit us up. We'll try and get you set up with one of our dealers. I think Sean is trying to become a dealer or has done some stuff with us, but we'd rather get you set up with someone who's one of our established dealers if we're going to recommend anyone.
When it comes to recommending, we're going to recommend with someone who has a track record that we know.
And someone that we work with on a regular basis.
We don't work with him currently, but I'm sure that, if we see some good stuff out of that camp and we like it and we try it out, I'm sure we'll be recommending.
Yeah.
Ryan says, this is a bit of a strange question, but would you recommend your blowers in a cold climate? Obviously, a sane person won't be driving the car much in cold weather, but will there be any problem cold starting a VMP if the car had to be moved a couple times a year in minus 20 degrees, no, not kidding, weather it gets that cold?
Right.
Yeah, as long as you have your antifreeze to water ratios right and whatnot, there should be no issues starting the car or anything else as
Like,
long
what's
as you're not on E85.
Yeah, like
Because,
what's different, right? There's
Well-
a belt and rotors.
well, not only that, if you think about a supercharged Mustang, look at 13, 14 GT500,
Right.
had to start all the way down to minus 40 degrees.
Yep, we see that in the tune
Yeah.
because it's accounted for in the tune. The starting temperature for the crank fuel is minus 40 degrees.
And then goes up to like 260 or 270.
Yeah, so it's all accounted for. So there shouldn't be any issues as long as you don't have water, straight water in there. I can't imagine. What's the difference? A belt and rotors, throttle body, cold air. That the engine doesn't know it has belt and rotors up top. You know,
Yeah.
so as long as everything's accounted for, it should be fine.
Just thinks there's a bigger atmosphere above
Yeah,
it.
it's like, whoa, why are you breathing down my neck like that, bro?
We're at the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Question for you guys. How are you looking on time? Because we have about 4 minutes left, and I have a whole bunch of questions.
That's okay.
If you have some
fire
extra
away.
time.
thing.
If
It's
we
yeah.
if we go over a little bit, not too big of a deal. We just don't want to
Okay.
kill another hour of the day.
No, you're fine. That's why I asked. JP says my 03 Cobra ran 10.6 at 133 with the TVS and bolt-ons on pump gas. You guys rock.
Awesome. Glad to hear, JP.
Billy says 1,200 wheel horsepower with a Gen 2 and a 15 plus long block. Is this a thing?
No.
Manual, it might be.
1,200
Yeah.
horsepower?
If your engine.
He
At
said
the wheel.
stock.
At the wheel.
Oh, stock?
Stock.
Stock engine? No, that's not a thing.
Not happening. Nope. Sorry.
Unless you're opening up a mother bottle in front of the cold air intake.
Yeah, he just said 15 plus long block.
Nope.
Yeah.
You
no.
can do rapid fire. We'll do rapid fire this
Yeah.
round.
We'll go short answers.
No.
Yes, no.
Excuse me. Brian says, am I tapped out on my Cobra? Need more power running the 3 upper and 4 lower.
Or blower.
I mean, that's usually like our blower setup. Most of the,
So 3 upper, 4 lower. Is that tapped out?
no, you could go 2.8 as long as you have cams and you're willing to party.
Next question.
Yep, and in. We'll just go and in.
And then
Jose says, F-150 manifold swap on a Mustang. Thoughts?
no. Why would you go backwards?
There's road race guys that believe that's a thing.
No.
I've seen graphs where it made more power down low, but
No.
no,
Nope.
just
Next
leave the
question.
Mustang intake
And
on
then next question.
there. And in.
Christopher says, opinion on oil pump gears on a Pro-Charged automatic. I assume setting shift points in the tune negate the need for OPGs.
If you have a concern about oil pump gears,
Put
swap
them
them.
in. Put them in, especially with a Pro Charger.
Yeah, if
you
it's
have
even a
stage
question
2,
in your mind, just throw them in.
Throw them in. It's not about shift points. It's not about that. It's about the stress on the crank, yanking to the side. And look,
That's
if you're thinking about it, just put them in, so you don't have to think about it.
and in.
Next.
Lana says, can you guys provide info on wiring a triple pump for 465s? No luck with 4 so far unless I buy the Hobbs switch setup. I know YOLO made a
There
video
you go.
about a
Ta-da.
mess wiring and showed it. Hook me up, guys.
There is no hookup. This is what you do. You call for innovation. Just say, "Get me the controller, get me the wiring," and you plug it in and you pony up.
Or if you want us to support you and tell you how to do stuff, order it from us.
Order from us.
And we'll help you out.
We'll help you out. We'll say this and this and that. But look,
I'll send you an etch-a-sketch diagram of how to
Yeah.
run everything. It'll be perfect.
we're not going to tell you how much line to buy, how much wire to buy,
So that you can
which relay
source
to buy.
this from Amazon and this from eBay.
We're not
and
doing. We're not
no.
in that. No, we're not that. We're not.
Buy stuff from us, contact us via email.
Exactly.
We'll get you squared away.
Well, go to Home Depot, get this. Why? No. Come on. Do it right.
Parker says, Gen 1 motor, Boss rods, diamond pistons, stage 3 comp cams,
Parker will go lightly.
Yeah.
Gen 2
Parker,
VMP
put rods in
twin
it.
67 and 127 JLT.
Mm-hmm.
Currently 650 wheel horsepower goals is low 9s and 800 wheel horsepower, 72 millimeter or smaller.
Low 9's in the quarter mile. Better put an auto in that sucker. Better
you're
put
gonna
rods
be-
in that sucker.
Hashtag Team Row.
Team row, yeah. Better put rods and an auto in that guy if you want to go low 9's. Love you, Parker. But you got to put an auto because I can't imagine that Fox at that's current setup, I mean, you need to cut a 1.2 something or 1.3 something.
It's all possible.
It's
Fox
possible,
body chassis.
but I just don't think
The likelihood of
of that car doing it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's a really pretty car. It's nice. It has to become a race car at that point, and I don't think he's willing to do that.
Or drive it out of it.
Yeah, drive the crap out of it. But I would prefer to have a nice set of rods in there because you have the pistons.
Yeah, I hate that stuff. I'm gonna spend $1,000 on pistons.
But I'm gonna put
And
the
I'm gonna
boss
put-
rods in it
I'm gonna put $20 rods in it.
because way back when people say those are forged.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
They're powder forged.
Powder forged.
And they're stronger than stock rods, but it's like I'm handicapped and I could just ride around in this wheelchair and have all sorts of fun.
Right. And no
Or I'm gonna like hobble with one crutch instead because I'm too proud to just
Right. Then you have
Go
to
the
favor
easy
this side, and then your hip hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
go all out.
Go all out. Don't get good rods in it. E85.
Save money for another month.
Get
another 2 months.
get a badass transmission. Pro shifted something. Get the weight down.
G-Force,
on that car.
G101.
G101 or something. Get the weight down on that car, and then put a spool in it. No differential on the planet. A spool, like man stuff. Go party. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Jonathan on YouTube wants to know how much power has our TVS made through completely stock exhaust safely on an 11 to 14 GT 93 octane?
Oh gosh, like
Completely stock, like
Six-
with cats and stuff.
620, 630
Well, we've made higher than that, but
on 93 octane.
that's the tricky part.
That's the tricky part. I've seen low
hate these
sixes.
questions.
I know.
On 93
the,
octane.
the stipulations are so
We're gonna put stipulations on our
stipulation.
stipulations.
How much? What's the most power you've made on 91 octane with stock
But why?
exhaust?
Why does it matter?
Because they want to go. They want to see how much they can make with limits. And guess what? You now you have an octane limitation at that point.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is put better gas in it, and you'll be up 20, 30 horsepower.
But this guy made 700. That's what
with
we
the
deal
knock sensors shut off
Right.
and completely ignoring the rattling the engine's
That's
making the whole
what
time
we deal
through
with
the pole.
all the time. And look, we're not gonna ring the car out and put you in a danger zone. We're gonna put you somewhere nice, somewhere safe, somewhere semi-aggressive.
Yeah,
but we're
we'll-
not gonna ring it out
We'll
on
call
93.
it. We'll call it what 630 on a
630.
82 or a 79. If you have long tube 650s,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fine. Not 700.
just
Not 700.
don't limit yourself with octane if you really want to. If you're looking for max horsepower, max horsepower and 93 should not even be in the same sentence.
What if I use V-Power from Shell? Yeah, exactly. Next question.
Andy says, is there any advantage when you delete the air box and leave the filter open? Does it hurt the MAF signal any? And car is a 2012 with VMP Stage 3 kit with twin 67 and the 120 tube.
The MAF transfer function is not going to be entirely the same, but
Especially at idle. And,
it might work. I did it on an 18 just to see. The MAF signal didn't look any worse or better than it was before, but that's.
does he say take the
That's
lid
a-
off or take the filter off?
I thought he was saying take the filter out and
I thought
leave
he-
the stock lid.
I thought it was the other way. But maybe you could be right.
Yeah, I don't know how you take the lid off. You have nowhere to mount the MAF at that point.
Sawzall.
Oh God.
Who cares?
I mean, if you really want to do stuff like that, just do it. Don't ask me if you can do it or not, because
Those are
what I
just-
tell you is irrelevant.
Yeah, you're gonna do it anyway, and then ask us to fix it. Well, I did this. Can you fix it? Well, why'd you do
Or
that?
sends you 6 data logs of him cruising at 50 miles an hour down the road. The car has a stutter. Oh, well, I removed the filter.
When you put it back on, does it get better? Yep.
Oh, it gets better. Oh, so weird.
There you go. You answered your own question.
And then?
And then next question, Kitty.
Jeremy's, oh wait, Tyler, it looks like somebody was answering a question. So Tyler says, how hard is it to get a Vortec or Paxton setup on a Cobra Jet manifold S550?
It's not hard.
No,
We've
it's
done
just
it quite a few
the right
times.
amount of couplers, and it's not hard.
Yeah,
We're not going to tell you what bends and what coupler and where to buy them. We're just going to tell you it's been done.
yeah,
So it's not hard. And then the tuning's pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Ray says, does our kit work on the 5.2 XS Illuminator? He might have an awesome deal on a used one.
It sure
Used
does.
XS Illuminator? Where'd you get that? Man.
What are those?
What are the... Yeah,
And then?
yeah, it'll fit. Next question.
Billy says, best way to run nitrous on a TVS, plate kit running fuel and nitrous through the rotors, or a direct port into the lower.
Direct port's the best way.
Always.
Eli says, what is a mass air transfer function? I don't know what that means.
That's basically
You want me to explain this simply? Oh,
it's basically your mass airflow sensor. There's a characterization for the mass airflow sensor in a tube. So like, basically your mass airflow sensor tells the engine how much air is going into the engine. The transfer function describes the output signal from the MAF versus airflow. So when you change the pipe or the tube that the mass airflow sensor is in, the characterization of what the sensor should do for output versus the signal changes. So
you probably lost in my characterization.
yeah, so if 1 equals 2 and you change the pipe, 1 doesn't necessarily equal 2 now. 1 may equal 5. It depends on the tube.
The way I explain it is, think if you have a lit match inside a tube, okay? So the smaller the tube is, right, the airflow coming in can probably put that match out faster if it's a smaller tube. If you get a bigger tube, that same amount of air probably won't put the match out. So think of the heat in the match as fuel. So think of it as, now that the pipe is bigger, I have now that match is not getting basically dimmer based on the airflow. You have to kind of give it more fuel to maintain a certain temperature, let's just say. This is just totally off the wall stuff. So the bigger the pipe, the more fuel you have to add. The smaller the pipe, the more fuel you have to take away from the transfer function, meaning the amount of air coming in versus, like you said, it's kind of hard to explain it, but I equate it to a match in a pipe. And that seems to be the best way that the layman can understand it. The bigger the pipe, the more fuel you have to give it. The smaller the pipe, the easier you can actually distinguish the match. Do you understand? Oh, very good. So
Okay.
Brian understood. That's all that matters. If Brian
got it.
understands, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeremy says, when will we have actual dyno results for the Gen 3? I'm curious to see how it performs over the Gen 2R throughout the curve.
We need to do that post that I was talking about right before the show of what Gen 3 does on the dyno. I feel like we should finally let the numbers out.
I think we should, but there is a 2650 rotor pack out there on an air pump making power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a air pump that we use,
Yeah.
but it is an air pump. And if you're talking airflow, the 2650 rotor pack has been proven, period.
And the airflow numbers have been posted in
Airflow
quite
numbers
a few
are
places.
airflow numbers are airflow numbers. It doesn't matter what's underneath it. It matters what this guy pumps out for air.
Well,
So-
no, my pump is pumping into my other pump, so therefore the pump on top is the one that matters, not the pump on the bottom.
Well, according to some on the internet, the pump on the bottom is what matters.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're comparing the pump on top to another pump that mounts on top, the pump on the bottom doesn't really matter.
But what if you pump from the bottom?
That'd be weird.
Okay, next
Who's
question.
on first? What's on second? Alex Alex says, can VMP have tunes for EcoBoost 150?
EcoBoost?
F-150?
Soon EcoBoost? I'm not sure.
We vendor tuning for EcoBoost
Yeah.
F-150s through MPT.
Yes.
If you want to tune for an EcoBoost F-150, but you want to buy the tune from VMP because you want our support in other aspects,
Right.
then just hit us up.
So we do support EcoBoost applications, truck, car?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we do most of the car stuff through the Cobb Access port. We don't really do too much email tuning for the EcoBoost Mustang, but we do dyno stuff with EcoBoost Mustang.
Yep.
Logan says, as far as supercharging in 11 to 14, what would be the best way to do it?
I think we answered that. Stage 2.
Yeah,
Send it.
stage 2 for most 93 octane street guys or 91 octane street guys is a really good buy.
Yep.
Sean says, what power level do you recommend building the bottom end on a 12 GT500?
Oh, anything above
800.
800, yeah. Anything above 800, you should throw some rods and pistons in it.
Yeah, if you're wanting to be at that 750 level and beat on the car every weekend, I just build it. Same thing I recommend for Coyotes, just rods and pistons. You get guys that want to do cams, they want to port the heads, they want to drop 16 grand
Right.
in the long block.
Because they think that's what they need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of going all out, but you circle back to the same question of dollar per horsepower. Dollar per horsepower if you're just looking to make the car reliable, rods and pistons. If you're wanting to add power while it's apart, port the heads, do some cams.
Yep.
Nick says, will there be an update for 05 to 9 Mustang GT superchargers?
Oh, like a
Well,
90 1.9 liter?
We're not going to make a 2650
No,
for 3
oh gosh,
valve.
no. No, the 1.9 is enough for it.
Exactly, and the Roush cars that have a 2300 footprint or GT500 blower currently bolts onto those cars. And the 2650 will probably still do that. We'd have to test.
And the 3 valve that comes with the 2300 has a pulley this big, you know, because the 2300 moves a lot of air, and the 3 valve, unless it's a Hammer or a P51, I really wouldn't go all out with boost.
Yeah, you keep those down at 810 psi.
GT Sean says, power adder preference, nitrous blower, turbos for stick cars.
We make blowers, so we're going to say blower.
Really?
Yeah. But if you...
What do you guys think is better, a blower or a turbo?
For 90% of people on the street, a blower's your best bet. For the guy that wants a 6-second race car, turbo's your best bet.
In the 8th, right?
Yeah.
Dan says, did Roush also help with the R&D of the new 2650?
The R&D?
That's what he said.
I wouldn't
Emphasis
say,
on the D.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they helped on the R&D. R&D.
Well, most of the R&D that we do, like on vehicles, done by us, not by Roush.
Yeah, with our blowers, the R&D is done by us. The terms, you know, we obviously partner with them for the actual manufacturing, but the R&D is all us, really.
Yeah.
Research and development. That means research and development. So we get it on the car, we put it on the car, and if we blow it up, that's on us.
Yeah.
So we do all that research.
And although Roush does a lot of independent R&D that frankly doesn't get enough light shed on it because
they're not verbose like that. They're very, you know.
They're humble.
Yeah, they're humble. They're not out there thumping their chest going, we did this. They don't play that game, you know, and God love them for that. I wish they did more.
They take the OEM approach.
Yeah.
We should do a video for them someday.
Hopefully.
Like, look at all the cool things these guys do.
Yeah, but they're not like that. They don't thump their chest. They're very humble. They just nose down, get to work, which...
We have this project. All right, let's get that done.
Exactly.
Right, next project, let's get that done.
It's not talking about it. They're about it. So
yeah.
Michael says, what do I do with my old IAT pigtail when using VMP IAT sensor?
let it hang.
Tape it up like
let it hang.
like everyone else does.
Yeah, just unplug it, let it hang.
Yeah.
Can you, let's see, Robert says, can you tune Holly 160-pound injector on a 0304 Cobra ECU?
Could I do it? Yeah. Do I have any interest in doing it? No.
Hell no. Hell to the no.
No. To the no, no, no. Hail to the no. That's Bishop Bullwinkle. I recommend you look up Bishop Bullwinkle, Hell to the no. You'll have a great time.
Vincent says, are you going to create a front feed TVS?
No.
We're
not.
Yeah. Wait a couple months, you'll see.
Just hang tight, man.
Yeah.
Just relax. Chill out. It's cold. Just
pump the brakes.
Chill out. Yeah, pump the brakes a little bit. Just chill out.
Yeah.
Joel says, when is y'all's blower for the 18 coming out?
Well,
Just a couple months, man. We're going to get like a string of those questions.
yeah. When's it coming?
Yes.
What's the price point on Gen 3?
I'm just going to post a GIF of hold please,
Yeah,
dot.
Exactly. So
Matt says, thoughts on the Holly Race intake manifold on a boosted S550? I know most people recommend Boss or GT350, but I like the look of the sheet metal intake.
Go for it.
good. Makes good power. I think you tuned an automatic, gentleman.
Yeah,
with
his was
PMOS.
11 to 14.
11 to 14. Make good power.
Yeah,
Make good
it was
power.
like 430 through the auto.
Yeah, they do well. They're a little lazy down low, but they do well.
Most single planes are.
Yeah. You you like the look? Well, you're gonna have to like lazy pedal down low.
Well, not only that, people ask us, how does this work? I like the look of it. Well, if you like the look of it, just buy it. Because you're not asking from any other aspect than, well, you're the whole reason you want it is because it looks good.
Right.
All right, if it looks good, put it on.
I don't drive around with my hood open. I don't know about you guys, but maybe some do.
Yeah.
Tyler says, boosted CJ manifold S550 or swap on a VMP?
Okay, you're gonna have a pretty lazy, unless you have a torque booster, where you wastegate a certain amount, just to have boost earlier on the centrifugal, it's going to be pretty lazy. Cobra Jet's going to be lazy down low, and with a centrifugal, which is the only way you can kind of do it, it'll be a little lazy unless you have a torque booster. It all depends on what you want. You want horsepower and top end, you can do that. If you want power now, proven stuff,
I mean,
you know.
At $3,000, depending on your pulley size, we'll put this in tuning terms. That'll make like 1.1 load on the hit.
Yeah.
Whereas the second you hit ours, it's 1.5 load. So with the TVS, you'll be moving more air down low than you will on a Century setup on a CJ.
100%.
So on the hit, it's going to feel a lot stronger. But I don't know. I hate these questions. Like,
it's some people,
our blower versus someone else's blower. It's like,
yeah, it's like really. You got to understand, we're always going to err to the side of VMP stuff. We work at VMP. We work here.
Well, not even just necessarily from that aspect, but just from like, it works great. Like,
yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What's up?
So
no offense, but
Yes.
So I'm going to probably cut you guys off in about 15 minutes
okay.
because at this point we'll be half an hour over.
Okay.
So, but we still have a number of questions. I'm not going to take any new questions because we still have quite a few questions to go through. Anything that we do not get to, Joe will go through after the fact and look at them and answer them manually. So you guys out there in social media land, just letting you know, don't feel that we're going to ignore. I said that. Don't think that we're ignoring you. We're not. Joe will follow up with your questions after the fact. So
And keep in mind, guys, if you like what you're watching and you want us to stay here longer to answer your questions, get that viewer count up, share it, like it, all the things.
Like and share.
Like and share.
Like and share.
The more people we have watching and engaging us, the more apt we are going to be to stay here longer and answer your questions.
And then you'll have a one-stop source of, just kind of information. If you have any questions, just plop on some of our previous episodes and just boom, or just tune in live. And then you'll know at 1:30 every Tuesday, these guys get on there and just answer questions you guys can definitely get well-versed as possible.
well, people are actually watching and they're liking it. I'm watching the likes come through as you're saying this. So
exactly,
they like us.
and they really
They
like
like
us.
you. They like you.
If you guys,
One thing I'll say though is I know you guys are liking it on the pages that I shared it on. Make sure you go to the VMP page if you could and like it on there as well.
Cool.
I want to go to YouTube because there's a couple questions there, and YouTube questions drop off once the live feature is over versus Facebook stays there. Those questions stay. So Dan says, thoughts on the 19 5.2 GT500. Also, Alex, hi. Keep up with the videos. He loves your channel.
Excellent. The rumors came out about the Predator engine, which I love the name.
We love the movie.
Love the movie.
Dylan!
My favorite movie. You son of a bitch. My favorite movie of all time, Predator, and I love the code name for the engine. 5.2 non-direct injected. Rumors are that it's not going to come with an automatic. That's just a rumor. We don't know.
If history is any indication of the future, it will be manual.
Exactly. So people are just like, whoa, what am I going to... Look, you're going to have to learn to drive the car. It's going to have a 7-speed, supposedly, a TR6070, supposedly. It's going to make a ton of horsepower. Now, it's not going to be no demon killer if it's a manual. It's going to be more of imagine a GT350 with 800 horsepower.
And a cross-plane crankshaft.
And a cross-plane crankshaft. Yep. If you've ever driven a GT350, the first thing you go, man, this thing has no nut down low. Like, ain't nothing. Imagine that car with another 300 horsepower. You're going to be like, hell yeah, I want this. And I think that's what they're catering towards. If you want a straight line drag racer, you get a Fox body. Get a Fox body and throw a big
gut
block.
The chassis.
Gut the chassis. Look, these cars are going to be an all-around vehicle. I think the GT500 probably wants to be more like the ZR1 as opposed to more like the Demon and the Hellcat. But I don't know. No one knows. But it's all rumor. I love that Ford going after it. It better make 800. And if it don't make 800 or high sevens, I don't know what to tell you, Ford, but you gotta bring it because Dodge and Chevy are really stepping up their game with these cars. So.
Yeah. Jonathan wants to know, is the 2650 overkill for the 11 to 14?
No.
I wouldn't say it's overkill. It's like saying a 2.9's overkill.
Right, 2.9 is a 2.9 overkill.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big blower, but it's not doesn't necessarily mean it's overkill.
Yeah.
You can always pulley it down.
A 2.3 with a 69 is overkill for,
Yeah.
a stock block, or stock bottom end. So think of it that way. 2650, just be good on boost, be happy, it'll be more efficient, it'll make more power with less boost. Can't beat it.
Kerman wants to know if a 14 GT with built sleeved motor, ported Gen 2 and PMAS DD 149 and Whipple monoblade. Do I need 2-inch headers or 1/7/8 fine?
1.78 is fine.
Yeah.
1.78 is fine. The only time you need 2-inch anything is when you run into a GT500 with a 4.5, 4.7 Kenny Bell, fully built.
I was going to say a 408 Windsor with 225 AFR heads or D3 heads.
Big boy stuff, right. D3, yeah. I mean, that's when you need a 2-inch primary. So 1 7/8 is more than enough.
Alex says, do you recommend headers with a blower?
Same thing. It's all about how much money you're willing to spend for the predetermined outcome. You're not going to get 50 horse out of headers. You're maybe going to get 20, maybe.
Vincent says, how long does it take for rings to seat? I'm having high vacuum on engine braking and don't know if I should do a compression test on a fully built engine.
Coyote? What, 2 seconds after idle?
Well, not if they're stainless steel. If you had like an iron ring on there, maybe. But if you're on a stainless steel ring, don't do any engine braking. Drive the car the way that you plan on driving it after break-in. And I wouldn't really worry about doing a compression test or anything unless you have audible issues or the car is way down on power when it shouldn't be. And you've looked at data logs and the last thing you can circle back to is compression.
Oscar says, is there an advantage of using Cobra Jet manifold over Boss or stock manifold on a turbo application?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want all the high RPM power, Cobra Jet, don't even play around with the Boss. If you want good low-end torque out of boost, do the 11 to 14 GT manifold.
But if you're cheap and you don't want to buy another throttle body and blah, 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 the Boss will work. But if,
But at the same time, you could do a CJ with a Hughes Twin 60 off a GT500 that those guys sell for like $50.
Sure.
But you get the guys that want to spend $650, $700 on a monoblade that are like, oh, I have this monoblade, my car drives like
crap.
Yeah. And it doesn't make any more power down low. Yeah. Different gun for a different purpose.
Exactly.
The 11 to 14 will make more low end, the Cobra Jet will make more top end.
Sergio says, do you recommend VMP blower on an 01 Cobra without built block?
01 Cobra?
The VMP blower without a build block is, you're going to have to pulley it way up to keep it safe. I just stick with the stock blower unless you want room to grow in the future.
01 Cobra?
Yeah. 01 Cobra, it's still C-head, so you can take a 03, 04 Cobra lower intake, timing cover, all that stuff, and pull
transfer it over?
Yeah, bolt a Cobra blower on it. But like I said, if you're not looking for a massive amount of headroom, just stick with the stock blower. When you're looking to do a short block or go E85 or something, throw a blower on it.
Zane says, speaking of shops in Houston, ever deal with Midnight Performance? They seem to be making strides with their white 18 Mustang. Just want to know if y'all would deal with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manuel and all the guys down there.
Yeah, he has some of the fastest NA cars, some real quick CPR turbo cars. He seems to kind of do it all. He does Chevy, Cadillac. I mean, he does it all.
And he ran our blower on his white or silver car for a while.
Yes.
And I don't know if he's a dealer though. I think he may have just bought that.
Yeah, he's not a dealer. But he's got a Trinity powered GT500 that runs 9s. He's got Ali Raza's car, which is a 2018 with the 85 running 1130s, 1140s. So the guy knows what he's doing. I think he works nights, hence the name Midnight Performance. And I've seen nothing but good come out of that camp. And if you follow him and follow his page, you'll see. Look, these guys are street racers. Okay, they're not there to mince words. They're there to drag some ass, and they're talking a bunch of junk. And I love that about them because they're pushing the envelope and they're out there actually probably pushing these cars further to the limit than any other shop is, really. Because in Houston alone, there's more Mustangs than there's probably is in all of Florida, just in Houston. So it's such a hot market down there for Mustang that they're right in the thick of it. And Texas 2K, I'm sure you'll see them all over the place, a bunch of videos. Them, Junior DeLau, and all them guys are always putting out videos of racing like on Monday night. They're out there racing, so gotta love those guys.
Dakota says 3.4 Crusher on a built 10, 5.1 compression, 14 GT. I have a Gen 1 Roush making 13 PSI on a 69 millimeter pulley, Cook headers, PMAS 120 intake, Whipple 68 millimeter.
Email us.
Yeah,
got it.
look, once you start putting all those things down, that will become an email. If you start saying 78, no. I like questions on social media that are like, hey, can you tune E75 as good as E85? That's a nice, easy, quick question to answer. When you start doing a whole mod list, that's an email question right there. I can't take 30 minutes to answer your one question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yep.
When you see a big paragraph like that, just email us. Yeah, that's all.
Christopher says, oil pump gears on an auto pro charged 11, or does shift points in the tune?
We
Yeah,
answered
we
them
got that
already.
one.
Yeah, we answered them already. We said if you're even thinking about it, just do it.
Yeah.
Joey says, best NSR cams for 11 GT500 with TVS on 93.
L&M.
L&M. We like them. They go in, drop in, sound great, make a ton of power.
Yeah.
Done.
James says, what kind of rods does the Boss 302 come with? Manly, H-beam?
Powder forged.
Powder forged, stock stuff, stock looking stuff, similar to 15.
Yeah, they come with male pistons, but it's a Ford-made powder forged rod. So, done. Ended.
Joey says, is Torco safe for everyday use? No E85 near me.
Torco's safe for everyday use, but
If you like orange spark plugs,
yeah,
that's the way to go.
It's safe for everyday use, but if you're running a setup every day that requires that you use Torco every day, you should probably rethink the setup.
Exactly. Lower boost.
Yeah.
Renee wants to know, can you install a VMP on my CTSV?
I'm sure you could get with a really smart machinist that can make it happen.
Sure. They come with 1.9s, and they seem that the 1.9 ported seems real well. Do real well.
The problem is like the intake manifold's like integral to the blower.
Okay. Oh, no.
They're really weird like that.
Okay.
It's kind of like the 18 up stuff where it's blow through and then down.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know that. I'm more familiar with the ZR1 setup. I used to work with a guy who now ports them, Kong Performance out of Media, Pennsylvania. Yeah, no is short answer, but anything can be done. We saw a CTSV blower on a 15 Mustang.
11 to 14, but yeah,
14,
I
right,
did.
so-
It was like an ATSV blower or something.
Right.
It was really weird, or DTS. It was the older like Eaton supercharger on 11 to 14 car. I did that a while back.
So anything can be done. It's just a matter of like how much money you got and how much time you got.
Yeah, the guy was a good fabricator. It was a clean install. I didn't like some of the ways he did things, but it worked.
Marty over on Mod Motor Mustangs wants to know, are 100 cell cats worth a damn, or just go catless? 07 GT500.
I will never recommend that you go catless unless it's an off-road vehicle, but
That never gets driven on the street ever.
that never gets driven on the
Ever.
street ever.
Ever.
But
It will
if
be
you're-
racetrack only.
If your concern is power or safety, getting the cats out of there is your best bet.
CJ says, have you guys seen many road course SCCA with supercharger application cars? Wondering if you've seen any overheating. It's a 2013 5.0.
The only time I really see them overheating is the guys that try to treat it like an all-motor car and sit at $7,000 the whole time they're going around the track.
Right. It makes so much torque down low that if you drive it properly, you don't need to wring it out like an NA car.
Unless you're on a really long track with like Sebring, where that one last straight you ring it out, but the rest of it's kind of like
Short
second gear,
shift,
third
yeah.
gear.
Chase wants to know your thoughts on higher compression with a supercharger.
And it's fine as long as you have the octane for it.
Octane. If you're thinking about pump gas and high compression, you're going down the wrong path.
And high boost.
And high boost, correct.
You can do low boost, high compression, moderate octane, or you can do
But you know
high
these
boost,
guys,
high
they
compression.
13 to
high
1
octane.
at 93. I'm like, no, man.
No, and I want to run 50 pounds of boost.
There you go.
No.
Not happening.
Dylan says, does turning off the EVAP system on the Coyote really mess with the engine as much as some tuners say?
Turning off the evap.
On a Coyote?
A Coyote?
I mean, it doesn't mess with the engine. Ford control packs have the evap shut off, and
Right.
everything still runs fine.
James says 800 wheel horsepower on a 500 GT? Question mark.
On
GT 500. 500 GT.
GT 500.
if it's GT500, it's doable.
E85, 2.4, 15%.
Yeah,
Mono, 148.
yeah.
Send it. 1,000 cc injectors. And a couple
Minimum.
of boosters and or return cell fuel system.
Return
Either or.
fuel system, and if you're planning on running 800 consistently on a
Build it.
GT500, you should really have 1300s.
1300. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I'm going to take one more question, and then we're going to be wrapping it up.
Okay.
There are a number of questions still remaining.
That's all right. That's a
so,
good thing.
I'll work through them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ian says, is there flex fuel system like GM E85, 9391 for legit cross-country tracking?
In Fords, there's no flex fuel sensor. They do it based on inferred stoic. But you can write a flex fuel tune for the car. We don't currently offer a flex fuel tune.
Nah. We don't offer flex fuel tunes. There are tuners that do. We honestly we just don't care to. I mean, it's not something that's that important. It's a nice.
If you're looking,
It's a nice sort of in between. I prefer dedicated tunes for the fuel that you will be using the most.
yeah, and I mean, if you're talking about flex fuel in terms of like 87 and 93 octane, and you're worried about what you're going to be able to get while you're on your trip, we can set you up with an 87 octane tune, and you just fill it up with whatever, and the knock sensors will add in timing on the 93 degree tune, or the 93 octane with an 87 octane tune. But it's certainly not ideal, but you won't have an issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to call that a wrap for the day.
Okay.
We went a little over an hour and a half
Okay.
this time.
So we're back up on tunes again. Sweet.
If we did not get to your question this week, like I said, Joe will go through and actually answer them manually for you in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys
Share.
Like and share.
If you like and share, we'll be here more often. It'll be justifiable. We get to come off of break and then sit here for another hour and chit chat with you guys just to make sure that you guys get your questions answered. If anything new pops up, any other concerns or anything, we'll be here for you. Like and share. If no one's watching this, there's no reason to have it. So.
And just keep in mind moving forward, the shorter the answer to your question can be, the more people we can help.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a long-winded answer or long-winded question that you want an answer to a really specific combination, shoot us an email.
Email us.
That's the best way to get that stuff handled, because it clogs up the flow of things.
Unless they want their name, like, oh, hey, we'll answer your question on the... Come on, email
Yeah.
us. We'll give you one-on-one attention. Our sales staff is more than
And if-
adequate to take care of you.
Exactly, and if we feel it's a question that'll come up a lot or something, we'll discuss it on here in the next meeting or something like that.
Sounds good.
That's it.
All right. Thanks for
Thanks,
watching, guys. See you later.
Have a good day, guys.